Welcome to the church family that is lifting lives through living love, inspiring hope, filling with faith, and transforming our world. These recorded messages are made available so that you might have additional opportunities to stay connected with us, and that you might learn and grow in your faith. God bless you as you hear the word today. And now, the message.
I'm going to offer a short reflection in just a minute. Before I do, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge some of the people who put together everything in this service. I want to take a moment to acknowledge Pastor Ashleah, who coordinated and organized everyone. Yes, Ashleah, I think you need new glasses to read the screen in the back, but thank you for all of your work, Ashleah. And I want to take a special time to recognize Melissa Covey, who charges our decorations throughout the church. Melissa's in the back organizing, along with Peggy Reef and Jameson Rozzi. They all put in so much work, and thank you to all the families and everyone for making this such a beautiful service. I think it's appropriate that Ashley is in charge of it. She's our pastor of intergenerational ministry, and the reason I love this service is because it is an intergenerational service. We had people of all generations participating, and I remember when I was a kid and we had a Hang of the Green service, and I can remember, even though I was, I don't have when I think back on my church, a lot of times I was zoned out during worship, but I remember hanging with the greens because I remember I got to bring in the wreaths or the Christmas ornaments or whatever it was. And it's a way for all of us to celebrate being part of the church together. So I'm going to offer just a short reflection this morning, and I kind of want to start off just thinking about expectations. Because we all come to the holidays with lots of expectations, don't we? And we just came off of Thanksgiving, and I'm sure you had some expectations for what kind of food you were going to eat for Thanksgiving, and you turn around and you think, Christmas is right around the corner, and we'll have another feast then. We have expectations for decorations of how things are going to look in the churches and in our homes and in our stores. There's going to be expectations for songs that we're going to hear and music that we look forward to every year, and maybe you've been dropping hints for months about a certain gift that you expect or hope to get on Christmas morning. We are full of expectations. And why do we get so full of expectations? Well, it's because all those expectations connect us to something we love, to a memory or people or a place. They're things that we enjoy. And when we, yes, it can be a little stressful to check all the boxes, for all those expectations. But when we do, there's this feeling of warmth and satisfaction and peace, like we did it. We made Christmas happen. That's the feeling we get when we satisfy all those expectations. But let me ask you the question. What happens when the expectations don't get fulfilled? What happens when you encounter the unexpected that throws everything off during the Advent season? How do you feel? Well, the first thing I think a lot of us feel when we encounter the unexpected is we feel stress, right? My whole plan is messed up now. I gotta somehow get things back on track. And some of us feel, especially if we were super high invested in whatever it is we were expecting, or if it was a disaster, or if it was unfair, when we don't get what we expect, then we feel disappointed. Maybe even that disappointment can deeper into anger if we were that deeply invested in what those expectations were. And let's be clear, the unexpected, we don't really like the unexpected because it's a little scary. The thing about the unexpected is it's unknown. We don't like it. Look, I know it's, sometimes stinks to try to live with all those expectations. It'll stress us out trying to make all the expectations happen. But it's better than the alternative of a chaotic, unexpected Christmas. We don't want that. Thank you very much. We'll stick with our tried and true. Except here's both the bad news and the good news. God does not play by the expected rules. Never has, never will. Life, we know, is often unexpected. But the good news is that God is unexpected too. God doesn't come to us in the ways we expect. God's ways are not our ways. He's mysterious, unknown. And as soon as we think we got it all figured out, that's the point when we are furthest from the truth, because God is unexpected. God comes to us in unexpected moments, in unexpected places, through unexpected people. And the Christmas story should be to us a reminder that God comes in all those unexpected places. So think about it. For Mary and Joseph, could there have been a more inconvenient time to have a baby than when they are hundreds of miles from home? It was unexpected, inconvenient, and that's when God came. And as far as the place goes, I mean, a manger is hardly the place where we would expect a king, the savior of the world, God's own son to enter. We'd expect a big palace, a big temple, but God came among us in an unexpected place. And he certainly came to us among unexpected people. A young teenage mother, her husband, a poor carpenter. They're visited that night by dirty, smelly shepherds. And yet God comes in unexpected places, times, and moments, and with unexpected people. I mean, that's how God chooses to come. And the problem is, the Christmas story for us has become so expected. It's part of our tradition. We look forward to hearing Linus read it every year as part of the Peanuts Christmas, right? Like it's part of our, so we've lost that sense of unexpected. But if we open our ears to hear it, we can remember that God comes to us in unexpected places and unexpected times through unexpected people. And he does this to surprise us with unexpected hope and unexpected peace and unexpected joy and unexpected love, because what's unexpected is even better. So let's start with just unexpected hope. That's where the Christmas story begins. That's the way Luke begins his gospel. The first person to know about Jesus' coming is not Mary or Joseph, not the parents at all, in fact. The first people to know about it are a man named Zechariah and his wife, Elizabeth. Now, we don't know a whole lot about them, except Elizabeth was Mary's cousin. She was very advanced in age, and she was married to Zechariah, who was a priest. And Luke describes them as faithful and righteous, observing all the Lord's commands. But there's one key feature you need to know about Zechariah and Elizabeth. They had no children. Maybe when they got married, they expected to have kids. That was the picture of their lives and their family that they wanted to have, but life disappointed them. It didn't quite work out that way. And no doubt they made peace with that, and they found other ways to find joy and meaning in life. You know, life goes on. And then something unexpected happened. And the unexpected thing was this. First, it was that Zechariah got to serve, burn the offering and the incense in the court of the priests, next to the Holy of Holies. Now let me explain this a little bit. He says, once when Zechariah's division was on duty, what does that mean? There were 20,000 priests in ancient Israel. That's way too many priests to serve in the temple at one time, so they were divided into sections. There were 24 different sections, so a little more than 800 priests in each section, and they each would serve 2 weeks out of the year. Now, when they served in the temple, there were lots of things to be doing, but there was one job in particular that was, the most special honored job there was, and that was to enter into the inner sanctum next to the Holy of Holies, and there make a sacrifice and burn incense on behalf of the people of Israel. And only one person could do it. It was done first in the morning, then in the evening, so twice per day, and only one person could do it, and that person was chosen by lot. And such was that, you could go your entire life serving in the temple and never have your name drawn. I'm sure Zechariah, being an old man, probably thought his time never was going to come. And once your name was chosen, you literally, your lot was set aside so that you would never do it again, so that other people would have that opportunity. It's literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that Zechariah had perhaps hoped for his whole life, and finally it came true. Now, you think that would be enough for most of us, right? To get this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And who knows what Zechariah expected. But he didn't expect what happened when he entered into that inner sanctum next to the Holy of Holies when he went into the presence of the Lord. Because there, next to the altar, was a messenger from God. And this messenger, this angel, gave him a message and said, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard." Think how long ago it had to be since Zechariah prayed that prayer for a child. He says, "But it's been heard. And now your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you will call him John. He will be a joy and a delight to you, and many will rejoice in his birth." And if you think that's good, well, it gets even better. He goes on to explain, "Your son will go before the Messiah to turn the hearts of the people back to the Lord, to turn the hearts of children to their parents and parents to their children, to make ready a people prepared." These are words from the prophet Malachi, spoken 400 years before. Generations have risen and fallen believing these words. Empires have risen and fallen since these words were spoken. And the angel is saying, in you, not just in your time, but in your family, these words are about to come true. Now, Zechariah was a righteous man. No doubt he knew the scriptures, not just the prophecies of Malachi, but he knew the stories of the patriarchs of Sarah and Rachel and Rebekah, all three of whom struggled to have children, and God opened their wombs. He knew the story of Hannah, the mother of the greatest king, or the greatest prophet Samuel in Israelite history, who anointed King David. He knew that story, that she was barren. He knew all these stories from the Bible, but he never thought it could happen to him. He never believed it was, these miracles still happen today. And so he stammered out to the angel, "How can this be?" And the angel kind of got a little indignant at that point, because the angel didn't know what it was to be human, didn't know what it was to have disappointed hopes and to have to live and make peace with those. So the angel kind of got huffy and said, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God. I've been sent to speak to you and tell you this good news. And now you will be silent and not able to speak until the day this happens, because you did not believe my words, which will come true at the appointed time." Now here's the trick about this. Remember I said that, the priest went in, he lit the incense as a way of the smoke rising from the incense would kind of raise the prayers up to the Holy of Holies. That wasn't the end of his job. After the priest made the offering, burnt the incense, the priest would go out of the Holy of Holies, and he would go to the wall that was separated the court of the priests from the court of the Israelites. And all the people would be gathered there at the base of that wall. And that priest who had just lit the offering would pronounce a blessing upon them. He would say the ancient words dating back to Aaron, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace." Except when Zechariah came out to speak those words to the people, he had no words. He had no voice. The people could tell something had happened. He'd seen a vision, but no amount of charades could explain what the angel had said to him. It was just simply too wonderful to be explained. To me, the story of Zechariah and Elizabeth is a story about unexpected hope. A hope that's, so deeply buried that's almost forgotten and coming back to life. So my question to you is this: have you ever been surprised by hope? Have you ever given up on something only for it to come true at some later date? Truth be told, when I look through my history, I don't know that I come up with a whole lot of examples of unexpected hope. I much more identify with Zechariah before the vision. I can pretty easily name some hopes and disappointments, some hopes I once had that have resulted in disappointment. That's not too hard for me to name. But to name those disappointments that have suddenly then come true, that's hard to do. But this is the invitation that was given to Zechariah, and I think given to us too. to believe in something so good that all disappointments fade in comparison, to believe in the good news that God took on human flesh, that he walked in our skin, to know us by compassion and to make known for us his love. That's so good. To think that he knew what it was to hope and to be disappointed, that he knew what it was to bear suffering, to bear our sins, to bear our death, even upon a cross. And he suffered all that so our hearts could be eternally forgiven, so that creation could be eternally mended, so that no one ever could ever be beyond redemption. That's the good news, the hope in which we believe. And not just that Jesus died, but the same one who died rose again 3 days later, defeated death, and reigns on high at the right hand of the Father, and from that place still intercedes for us and for the world. The hope that one day he will come back again to finish the work that he started, to banish death, to banish evil forever, to mend our hearts forever. And we will be with him and he will be with us. And no one ever, ever, ever will be alone or afraid. That's the good news. That's the gospel. And that's the hope against which all other disappointments fade. Now, Zechariah didn't know all that. All he knew is that it was happening. All these prophecies that come before was coming true in his day and his time. And because he was slow to believe, if you are slow to believe, Zechariah is your patron saint. Because he was slow to believe, the angel struck him dumb, made him unable to speak. And it's, the angel kind of positioned this as a punishment. But I find myself wondering if it isn't a gift. If it isn't a gift, so sometimes to be forced into silence. Because in silence, Zechariah was forced to tend to his own heart, to lean on the language of prayer, and to keep watch for God's will to come true. Everything else, all other distractions, were taken away. And so this season of Advent, I want to invite you to a simple practice, to a practice of silence, to take a few minutes every day just to be still before God. And in fact, we're going to do that in just a moment now. And in this silence, I want you to do what Zechariah had to do, which I want you to examine your own heart, your own hopes, maybe your own disappointments. And I want to invite you to surrender those hopes to God. And when I say surrender those hopes to God, here's what I mean, that we, first off, name what our hopes are. The hopes we still have, maybe the hopes we've given up on, but just to name them before God is a way of, bringing our hearts before him. And then to release our hope, whatever those hopes may be, to release them into God's hand and to trust that God will respond to us. Maybe not in the way we expect, maybe in some unexpected way, but God receives, holds, carries our hopes and dreams and will respond. And in time, when we surrender our hearts to him, we receive the healing and renewing of our hearts. And you'll know that your heart has been healed when your hope just continually is renewed, like a well bursting forth. When you still have renewed hope for the world and for your life, that's when you know your heart has been healed. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invite us into silence, and I just want you to remember, God comes to us in unexpected times, unexpected places, unexpected people. His plan is greater than we could ever imagine. His hope is greater than any disappointment we may face. His good news is so good, we can barely take it in. All we can do is be still and receive it.
Good morning. My name is Dawn McKnight, and I am the office manager here at Zionsville UMC. Thank you for joining us today. We would love to get to know you more and spend some time with you. If you'd like to know more about our faith community, please visit our church website at zumc.org. There, you'll find the many ministry opportunities we have to offer. If you need to contact one of our staff members, all of our contact information is at the bottom of each webpage. You can also connect with us via social media throughout your week for daily inspiration and community. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the username Zionsville UMC. Once again, thank you for joining us this morning, and we hope you have a wonderful week.